It's a Conference USA Saturday night rivalry shootout in the Borough. It's the longest running and the most fierce rivalry in Conference USA history as Western Kentucky and Middle Tennessee duke it out for the 148th time in series history. What's going on, everybody, and welcome courtside here at the Murphy Center with Hallie Ledbetter and Jill Jelnick. I'm Jake Rose. Thank you for joining us tonight on ESPN+. This is going to be an excellent game, Jill. Flat out, these two teams do not like each other. They've been playing for more than 100 years. They've been playing since Woodrow Wilson was in office back in 1950.
Western Kentucky and Middle Tennessee hate each other, and this is the game that when the schedule comes out right at the beginning of the year, you circle it right away. And here in Murfreesboro, you better believe there are no Middle Tennessee fans wearing red this week. That's how much of a rivalry it is.
Western Kentucky has been trying to steer the ship in a little bit of a different direction since Babacar Fee went out a few weeks ago, but Tyrone Marshall has really turned it on for the Tops lately.
Marshall, 6'7", grad student, has been a force for Western Kentucky, especially since Conference USA play started. He's kicked it in high gear, and in their most recent win against Kennesaw State, had a game-high 20 points. He has great positional size, also a high-level rebounder. You better believe he's going to give some trouble to MTSU down low.
And Conference USA this season, Jill, is loaded with elite guard play. However, Justin Porter has taken his game to a new level in the last week.
JP arguably coming off the best two-game stretch of his career here at Middle Tennessee. Had a season-high 27 against Kennesaw State, and then less than 24 hours later comes back, breaks that season-high with 29 against Jack State. JP is a senior that is absolutely locked in for Middle Tennessee right now and during the most important stretch of the year. It's going to be an exciting one, Jake. Can't wait. Let's get it going.
#148th all-time meeting in the 100 Miles of Hate series. Western leads the all-time series 100-47. But in this building, inside the Murphy Center, the series is tied at 26 apiece. And it is a packed house here tonight at the Glass House. And we are rolling from the Borough. Western Kentucky wins the tip coming into this matchup, 11-6, 2-2 in conference play. And Jill, they flat out want to run. I'm talking Noah Lyles' speed on offense.
Push the pace. You'll see them move quickly in transition when it comes to their pace of play. Second in the country in adjusted tempo with 74 possessions per game.
Christian Lander, the transfer from Indiana, the fifth-year senior, gets the Hilltoppers on the board first. Middle Tennessee, meanwhile, 12-5 and 3-1 in conference play so far this season, and coming off back-to-back wins at home last week as they wrap up a three-game home stretch with this game against Western Kentucky. Jalen Counter turns it over on the first possession for Middle. Both teams averaging 78 points per contest. And we're going the other way.
Two teams that are very similar. You mentioned almost 80 points per game for these offenses. Middle Tennessee, just like Western Kentucky, also likes to push the pace a little bit. And then on top of that, both teams have a handful of veterans on the floor. For Western Kentucky, 3 grad seniors right now, two seniors to make up their starting lineup. And on the other side, this is one of the most experienced lineups that Middle Tennessee has ever had.
Yeah, just in terms of pure age, these are two of the oldest teams in the entire country, as Issam Mustafa got popped in the face and he is down on the other end of the floor. So Middle down 4 on 5. Corner 3 is no good. And now a stoppage of play as Issam Mustafa is in a world of hurt. And he's getting checked on the far baseline by the Western Kentucky training staff.
Went up to try to get the rebound. Saw some hands flailing up there and grabbing his face. Looks like something upper body. But he's been down for quite a bit, hoping he's okay.
Now, both teams are already a little shorthanded coming into this ball game. Middle without Kamari Lands, and Western Kentucky without Babacar Fee, their second leading scorer and leading rebounder, as Mustafa is back up on his feet and walking over to the Middle Tennessee bench. He has that right eye shut. So we will check on him and get an update as both of our officials are over on the scores table, getting a look at what went on. Blake Harris, Barry Mathis, and James Hicks blowing the whistles tonight. Veteran crew.
Looks like in the meantime, Chris Loof will be coming in as they continue to look at Mustafa.
Foul. All it was he came down and caught an elbow at the end.
That's Barry Mathis saying play on after the review, saying Issam Mustafa just took an elbow inadvertently on the way down. So we play on. So 29 seconds on the shot clock for Middle. Just a minute 18 has ticked off here in the first half. These two teams split the regular season series a season ago with both the home teams winning last year, but Western Kentucky got the best of Middle Tennessee in the Conference USA semifinal a season ago, 85-54 down in Huntsville, Alabama, en route to their NCAA tournament appearance as Jalen Counter has 2 turnovers in 2 possessions.
MTSU with a little bit of a slow start offensively. That first possession had the turnover, a casual mistake, and then here with the traveling. Not a strong start offensively, but make no mistake, when Blue Raiders get going, this is a well-rounded offensive team. That's exactly what Western Kentucky head coach Hank Plona said about the Blue Raiders. He says not only do they have veteran experience, but they're good at a lot of things. They can shoot the 3, get the rebounds down low, make you really work for it, and then of course push the pace. So 2 teams that, as we mentioned, know each other very well, also similar styles. Huge in conference game in terms of importance. Whoever wins this one is going to move into the top half of those Conference USA standings. So a lot on the line tonight at the Glass House.
So I don't think the shot clock is operating correctly. It's still stuck at 29. And just got the heads up from our officiating crew on that one. Thanks to Blake Harris for the heads up. So working out the clock here in the early moments, but yeah, what a great crowd here tonight. This team for Middle Tennessee has gotten off to their best start in the Nick McDevitt era with a 12-5 mark here early.
You mentioned the best start, and a big reason why, that veteran experience. You look up and down this lineup, and you really only have one true freshman in this lineup. Everybody else has played several years. You have Mustafa, who's in his 6th year of college basketball. These are players that not only have been around and have grown their talent, but they also know how to play in competitive conference games, thrive in these games and situations.
Yeah, no true freshmen on this roster for Middle Tennessee. They hit the portal and they hit it hard, and they knew exactly what they were going after. As Alston sprinting the other way, a lot of contact, no call. Middle with the offensive rebound as Porter had that shot deflected by Jalen Jackson. Christian Lander, the only bucket so far here tonight, gives it up to Jackson, and the Tops go around the horn. Marshall trying to drop it off for Odiahi, and Middle has their first turnover. Porter in the lane, had it poked away, but he was fouled. As Tyrone Marshall picks up foul number 1 tonight.
Good aggressive drive from JP. You'll see that a lot tonight. Finding his way to the rim, trying to go up and follow through, even though that time he got fouled on the ground. That's that same aggression that we've seen from him the last 2 games, taking matters into his own hands. Big reason why he's had season highs the last 2 games.
Porter coming off a season high, 29 points in the win against Jax State last Saturday in this building, as Chris Loof, the sophomore, is checked in. Porter puts it up for 3, no, and last touch by McHenry, and that gives Middle Tennessee another crack at it. And another 20 seconds on the shot clock as Issam Mustafa will check back in for Middle Tennessee. So a good sight for Big Blue fans.
Chris Loof did a nice job down low going up against Udiaye, but now Mustafa with the challenge there going up against that big man for Western Kentucky. The battle of the board, something to keep an eye on with these two teams, both very good rebounding teams.
And Middle turns it over again. Jackson sprinting the other way as Western tends to do, second in the country according to KenPom in adjusted tempo. 75 possessions per 40 minutes. And last touch by Middle, 15 on the shot clock. And that's actually been the way that Western Kentucky has played the last couple of years, even last year as well. And Hank Plona in his first year kind of keeping that same type of offensive style in his first season in Bowling Green.
The identity of their offense, make the other team uncomfortable, and that's their key tonight. Try to get Middle Tennessee uncomfortable defensively.
And Middle Tennessee with a big stop. Middle is trying to get a fast break, but instead they're going to get a shot clock violation as Nick McDevitt having a laugh.
Smiling over there on the sideline.
Always politicking as a head coach, you know?
Never stop.
It's kind of funny, we were talking to Coach McDevitt earlier this week, and I told him, I was like, man, you seem like you're having a good time over there on the sideline this year. He said, yeah, you're having more fun. He's like, man, with this team, the way they play and the way they get along, it's hard. It's hard not to. He's not going to be happy about the turnover as Lander finishes strong with the left hand at the rim.
Only 4 points so far in this 4 minutes of play. Both buckets coming from Lander. Keep an eye on him, the grad student. He had 14 points in their recent win against Kennesaw State.
And Justin Porter had it knocked away. Western very physical on the defensive end, as Middle has really been struggling here in the first couple of minutes, as that three is well off the mark from Don McHenry. Now Issam Mustafa bringing up the rock. Middle looking for their first points. 4.5 minutes into the ballgame. Alston didn't realize that nobody was on it. Now Alston.
Size mismatch down low.
Weston gets his feet set, puts up the three. No. And cleared by Blaze Cada.
Middle Tennessee clearly out of rhythm right now offensively. Need to get something going. I'd like to see them slow down the ball next time they get it, but a big turnover or key defensive stop here would help.
Enoch Kalambe checked in just a moment ago for Western Kentucky. 8.5 points, 4.5 rebounds off the bench for the Toppers. And the Tops have been trying to find a lineup that really sticks for them as of late, as Mustafa back in the lineup and the first bucket tonight for Middle Tennessee. But Western Kentucky, after missing Babakai Fee for the last 7 ball games, has been really messing with their lineups. 5 different lineups in the last 5 ball games.
You'll see Western Kentucky run about 7-8 guys, maybe even a little bit more tonight. They do like to push that pace, so they get tired a little bit, and you have to relieve them, make sure they stay fresh.
It's an early rock fight, 4-2. 14.5 to go here in the first half. 100 miles of hate on ESPN. Well, if offense is what you're looking for, we're working on it. 4-2. Middle Tennessee trails here at home against Western Kentucky. Middle 1 for 7 from the floor. Western Kentucky just 2 of 8. And Jill, both teams just trying to figure it out right now.
Also, give a lot of credit to these two defenses. Been aggressive, physical down low, and also pushing the pace. We said that ahead of time. Western Kentucky second in the country when it comes to that pace of play. Middle Tennessee also likes to move in transition. Well, you can't both do it at the same time. Something's got to give, and I think so far a good defensive start for both teams, but for Middle Tennessee, they have to find a rhythm offensively. I'd like to see them slow it down a little bit, maybe run a set piece, try to get Mustafa more involved now that he's back after being elbowed down low. Glad to have him back, glad he's okay.
8 combined turnovers between these two teams, 4 apiece, just 3 field goals. And that stat just kind of tells you everything you need to know about this game so far. So counter, Porter, Alston, Weston, and Mustafa, the 5 on the floor for Middle Tennessee. Counter is bumped on the drive by Braxton Bayless, who has just checked in. First foul against Bayless, second against Western Kentucky, who goes with Bayless, Thedford, Odiahi, Kalambe, and Marshall. So 20 to shoot from middle. Counter going up against Bayless through the contact, shorts it, got his own rebound, ripped it away, and Middle back in business. Counter one more time for three, no, and Middle now 1 for 9 from the field. And Thedford, the freshman, taking it right at the rack, and Coach Plona telling us sometimes Julius Thedford doesn't know he's a freshman. He's just going in guns blazing a lot of times.
Fearless freshman is how he described Julius Thedford to us, and we've seen him already in this early game play with so much confidence as a freshman, and he is playing with a handful of grad seniors and upperclassmen, so in order for him to fit in that lineup, he knows he has to play with physical power, with confidence, and we've seen that so far from him this season.
McDevitt with the surrender Cobra look on the sideline as his team can't buy a bucket, but Julius Thedford, the freshman, connects for his first bucket tonight.
Coach Plona also saying that Thedford, very good shooter, smart facilitator.
The freshman from Memphis out of Cordova High School, as Mustafa gives it up to Counter with 15 to shoot, spinning, fading, and scoring. Second field goal tonight for Middle. And it's a 2-point ball game. Kalambe looking for Thedford, count it.
What a move by Kalambe down low, running to the ball, bending over on the other side, going up hard with it. Despite the foul, very nice move from Kalambe, who is doing a nice job for them again this season. Had 19 points in their recent win against Kennesaw State. Just one of those confident do-it-all players that Coach Plona says they need him every single game to be that player.
So Julius Thedford, the freshman at the line. And Thedford with 5 points. Coming off a 7 point, 7 rebound performance in the win against Kennesaw State on Saturday. And that actually snapped a 6-game double-figure streak. In that 6-game stretch, the freshman was averaging 16 points per contest. And he has been twice named the Conference USA Freshman of the Week, likely working on Freshman of the Year. 5-point ball game. Here, 12.5 to go here in the first half. Middle Tennessee really trying to figure out what's going on with this offense. Just 2 of 11 from the floor. Weston deep 3, and that is wide right. And Mustafa and Odiahi fighting for it. Now Marshall comes back. Kalambe clearing space, going up with a left hand, no. And last touch by Odiahi.
Middle Tennessee has settled down a little bit more, hasn't turned the ball over since that last commercial break, which is nice, but still in that little bit of an offensive rut. I'd like to see them try to get the ball down low a little more, have Mustafa go up against Udiai and really signal out that matchup.
Both these teams tied for third in the conference in terms of the amount of turnovers per contest at 11.5, as this third team foul against Western Kentucky will take us to the under 12 media timeout. Western on top, 9-4. 5-point advantage for Western Kentucky, looking for win number 101 in the series of 100 miles of hate against Middle Tennessee, as we take a look at the standings in Conference USA. And how good has Conference USA been this year? Were they ranked 9th out of all the conferences in college basketball this year? Mexico State, the only undefeated But this conference is wide open right now.
Wide open. That's exactly what Western Kentucky head coach Hank Polona said when we asked him about welcoming him to Conference USA. He said every single one of these teams is good, and you have to bring your A game every night, and especially on the road. Home teams have had the advantage so far in conference play this year.
Mustafa going to work on the block. Trey Green's just checked in. He flicks the wrist and kicks it off the back of the rim, but Middle with another offensive board. Buford will give it a go. No. And Middle 0 for 7 from behind the arc. Here to start this one, 2 of 13 from the floor.
I like the move by Coach McDevitt, inserting Trey Green, hopefully trying to get a spark there. He was the unsung hero 2 games ago against Kennesaw State, came in and in 11 minutes made 3 quick threes. That's the kind of spark they're looking for right now, something to ignite this Blue Raiders offense, because Jake, it's been very stale this first half of the first period.
I remember my high school coach always saying that's the hardest job on any team, is to be the guy that comes off the bench, that has to bring the energy, but it has to be the shooter. So you can't just be, just be diving on the floor for loose balls. You have to find a way to contribute as well. And Trey Green has been doing that in the last couple of seasons here at Middle Tennessee, as Jalen Counter has his second field goal.
Beautiful floater by Counter. Talk about a little bit of a spark. That's something that Jalen Counter has brought throughout this season. Coach McDevitt saying that every time he's been in the lineup, they've just been able to make something happen as he grabs the rebound.
Jackson almost had a steal and a save, but he stepped out of bounds, and Middle will retain possession, trailing by 3, as Justin Porter back on the floor in favor of Cam Weston, as Julius Thedford will come out for Western.
Hilltoppers in that full court defense right now, trying to make Middle Tennessee even more uncomfortable than they already are, and so far it's worked this first half.
Yeah, Middle 3 of 15. They have taken a lot of ill-advised shots on the offensive end. Buford, a wide open look from the wing, and just a bit outside. Tip of the cap to Bob Euchre, late great Bob Euchre.
R.I.P. Buford will definitely want that one back. He's been a little cold the last game and a half, trying to find his offensive touch again, but is a great force down low and also defensively for Middle Tennessee.
Don McHenry, the leading scorer for Western Kentucky this season, 17 points per game, still looking for his first bucket tonight. Forces a long one there, and Mustafa has the board. Porter frees himself up, and he's going to the line on a very, very ill-advised foul from Jalen Jackson, his first. Fourth-team foul against Western Kentucky here in the first half.
JP coming off arguably his best 2-game stretch of his career. He started off conference play very quiet, only had 10 points in their first 2 games, but then after that kicked it into high gear, had game high 27 against Kennesaw State, then beat that season high, I should say, and had 29 against Jack State. Trying to get going here, but a couple free throws will help. I liked his shot selection there, Jake. At this point, Middle Tennessee needs to just keep shooting. They got to be able to find the basket, get into some sort of rhythm offensively, and you can't do that if you're not taking the right shots.
And Porter, a perfect 3 for 3 from the line, and free throws have been the bugaboo for Middle Tennessee so far this season. I asked Coach McDevitt earlier this week, I said, all right, there's one thing aside from free throws that you want to fix about your team. What is it? He said free throws.
Free throws, that's it.
And Mustafa, ill-advised foul at half court. Second against Middle, first against Mustafa.
Coach McDevitt motioning to Mustafa, hey, we don't want you doing that out there. Get back down low. We need you down low.
So Chris Loof, the sophomore, will check back in for Middle. Lander thought about it, countered, did a nice job closing the gap. Lander stayed with it, and a block being called against Cam Weston, his first.
Nice drive by Lander, going up hard to the basket. At first, I thought Weston's feet were set, but it all kind of came together at once. A little hard to tell, even in that replay. A little tough there. But nice drive by Lander, creating an opportunity now with a chance to get points on the board.
So Lander connects on the free throw. He now has 5. Lander, actually a 5-star recruit from Evansville, Indiana. Initially had signed to play for the Hoosiers. Actually was an early commit, left school early, or graduated early from high school, went to Indiana as a younger than typical freshman. Spent 2 years for the Hoosiers, just never really stuck in Bloomington, but has played really, really well and been a really nice contributor for Western Kentucky the last few years.
Yeah, one of several players in double digits when it comes to points per game, averaging 10. Also a good rebounder as well.
And Jalen Counter has found the rhythm. He has 3 of Middle Tennessee's 4 field goals here in the first half, as Jalen has tied it up at 11. And there's an Indiana connection there. Jalen Counter spending his first 2 years at IUPUI as Kalambe lost his edge and did a little pirouette on the hardwood and turned it over.
Counter was someone that was not originally in the starting lineup for Middle Tennessee at the start of this season, but coach noticed his plus and minus whenever he was in the court. Positive things were happening, and he said, I had to get him in more. He was playing the 6th most minutes and having the biggest impact on what they were doing offensively. So they made an adjustment during their fall tournament over in South Carolina, and since then he's been in the starting lineup.
Chris Loof through the contact, rattles one home.
Love that physicality by Loof down low. That's exactly what Middle Tennessee needs right now, going up against the big men for Western Kentucky.
And Cato with the response. Blaze Cato was scoreless in the win against Kennesaw State in just 7 minutes off the bench for Western Kentucky last Saturday. Has 2 points here tonight as we are knotted up at 13. Less than 8 minutes to go here in the first half. Jalen Counter short, and Lander rushing off the other way. McHenry still looking for his first points tonight. Not going to get it here. McHenry 0 for 3 from the floor as Cam Weston tied up on the block. And he is fouled, and we will head to the break with 7:30 to go. Tied up at 13 here in the Borough. Cam Weston going between the legs, in amongst the trees. Fouled from behind by Jalen Jackson, his 2nd foul, and the 5th team foul against Western Kentucky. Very, very low-scoring affair here tonight. These teams combined less than 30% from the floor. Each team is 5 made field goals. Middle 5 of 19 from the floor. Western 5 of 16. And neither team has made a three-pointer. A combined 0 for 15.
These are 2 teams that average nearly 80 points per game and knotted up at 13, well below their average for first half. You've got to give credit to the defense and then also the turnovers forced. Alston
going to work against Marshall, trying to drop it off for Loof, but that door shut really quick. 5th turnover against Middle here in the first half. Thetford had it sent back. Alston got a piece of it. Marshall gets set, and that just grazed the rim. And neither team, just bad, just flat out bad shooting the ball from behind the arc here tonight. I don't think a shot has been close.
Sometimes you see that with one team coming out a little cold, maybe the road team, right? But very rarely do you see 2 teams go 0 from deep to start a game like this.
I mean, these shots are just barely grazing the rim. Weston puts it into the rim.
Yeah, so the key is figure out a rhythm that works. If the three's not working, Jake, then drive to the basket, create opportunities in the driving lane, fouls. You got to figure out a way to do what's working for you.
I was really hoping you were going to say the key is, Jake, to put the ball inside.
Well, that too. That helps. From my experience, it helps when it goes into the basket.
I was hoping that's where you were going. And Middle turns it over again. Bad pass from Loof. McHenry. Now Marshall from the wing, and there, finally, the first three-pointer tonight from either team. All it took was 17 tries.
Marshall, the grad student, averaging nearly 10 points per game. He's someone that Coach Plona told us he has to always bring his A game for them. He's counting on every single game offensively and defensively. A confident player in there. That shot, hopefully, bringing a little life to that Western Kentucky offense.
Fouls against Lander, his first and the sixth against Western Kentucky here in the first half. 5:48 to go. Weston, tough drive. Cada got a piece of it. Kalambe, one more pass in the corner and back-to-back threes. This time it's the freshman Thedford.
Coach McDevitt not happy about that play in transition. Thought the Hilltoppers traveled and visibly upset because it did ultimately turn into 3 points for Western Kentucky.
And we've got our first run of the night. Western Kentucky on a little 6-0 run over the last 30 seconds on back-to-back three-pointers from Julius Thedford. And Tyrone Marshall. So signs of life from at least one of these offenses in the last 30 seconds. Still have yet to hit the 20-point mark. Western Kentucky leads by 4, 19-15.
Crazy part is it's been a tight game this whole time. Despite the lack of scoring, no team, like you said, has been able to go on any sort of long run. And Coach Plona told us whichever team is going to be able to make that big run or gain some distance and play with confidently with the lead, that's going to be the team that's going to be hard to beat towards the end of this game.
Western trapping now at half court. Throwing all sorts of change-up and curveballs to this Middle Tennessee offense. Weston, a little step through, got the teardrop to fall.
Great play by Weston. At first, looked as if he was going to go for the three, but then had the defender come up tightly on him, used that to drive to the basket, finish strong.
Cam coming off his only scoreless game as a Blue Raider for the past 3 seasons. And he's tied up by Kalambe on the drive, and he will shoot 2 on the other way.
You were mentioning Jake Weston coming off one of his only scoreless game. Yes, and as a competitor, that always eats at you. Now, they did get the win against Jack State their last time out, a huge win, and he was very much a part of that. But as a competitor and someone that constantly contributes, for him, 11 points per game, that's always tough when you're not able to have any points to show for it. So I bet you that was something coming into his mind, a focus, maybe getting to the rim more, driving to the basket, or at least creating opportunities at the free throw line.
And when we talked to Hank Plona, head coach from Western Kentucky pregame, he said Middle Tennessee's offense is just so balanced. It's an embarrassment of riches. You've got an all-pro player in Cam Weston coming off the bench.
Yes, yes. Very different from Middle Tennessee, but he is coming off that ACL tear from last year where he missed the majority of last season. Came so early in the year.
Yeah.
JP had to switch over to that one role, be the facilitator. Now with Cam Weston back in the lineup and a handful of transfers, it's a brand new Blue Raiders team. And
Kalambe finding Thedford again on the back door. That's the second time they've hooked up tonight. And we're tied as Porter connects on Middle's first three.
JP starting to get some momentum. Nails that one behind the arc. That was a place he comfortably shot from the last 2 games. I would like to see Middle Tennessee try to get him more shots coming off of the ball screen, a little bit more shot selection, giving him some more opportunities.
McHenry, the lefty, no. Still looking for his first points here tonight. Middle looking for their first lead of the evening. Weston changing gears. Now for Mustafa, he loses it, hits the deck. Trey Green in trouble, and he's fouled by Julius Thedford. And we will step aside. 3:47 to go in the half. Middle shooting free throws when we come back. 3:47 to go. We are tied up at 21 apiece, and that's Justin Porter, the Conference USA Player of the Week, connecting on the first long ball this evening for Middle Tennessee. But Jill, he's been red hot from behind the line, or behind the arc, I should say. 9 made three-pointers in that 2-game streak from last week.
It took a little while for him to find that rhythm tonight, but Jake, when JP gets going, he is on fire. And again, going back to his start of conference play, he was quiet the first 2 games, really got back in the gym, put some extra hours in. Coach even said he had to tell JP, hey, go home, get some rest. You've been putting in a lot of hours, a lot of work on the hardwood. Give yourself a second to breathe. And JP is just an example of that veteran. You don't have to tell him what to do. He's already doing it on his own. And now that he's found that offensive touch, Jake, I'd like to see Middle Tennessee try to get him the ball more off the ball screen.
Trey Green misses the front end of the 1-and-1, so we stay deadlocked at 21. Again, these teams average 78 points per contest. Nowhere near the pace of that as Kalambe rips the net.
Huge 3 from Kalambe. That's another player that Coach Polona told us he needs him every single night, a confident veteran that needs to step up, especially with the absence of Fee.
Yeah, if it weren't for Justin Porter, Enoch Kalambe might have been the Conference USA Player of the Week a week ago. Weston puts together a 3.
Ooh, what are we cooking? Is Cam Weston cooking? Is that what we're doing over there at half court? I like it, the confidence.
Sprinkling a little something on that one, and as Western breaks the tie, Jalen Jackson, his first bucket here tonight. Both teams actually really well balanced when it comes to scoring, even with the loss of Fee. 4 players averaging double figures for both teams, as Mustafa still looking to get going. Just his 3rd shot attempt so far tonight. $15 to shoot for Western. This is as long as their possessions normally last. Kalambe one more time, not this time, as Mustafa with the rebound. Weston going downhill, stopping on a dime, and drops another one. Cam Weston coming alive off the bench for Middle Tennessee, and Hank Polona is going to take 30 seconds to talk it over. Cam Weston now with 10 points off the bench for Middle Tennessee. He is the leading scorer for Middle, as both leading scorers for Middle and Western with 10 points off the bench, as Julius Thedford, the freshman, also has 10, as Jill, we're tied up at 26, and finally a little back and forth here.
I love it. This is kind of the exciting brand of basketball these fans came here for, Jake. It's always fun when you see the glass house this full, and it's a testament to the rivalry and the tension these 2 schools have brought over the years. But yes, I think both teams needed a little bit of time to get settled, maybe some jitters, right? And you know how important this conference game is, what this means, the winner moving up to the top half of those CUSA standings. But now we've seen 2 teams settle in what they do best, get in a little bit of offensive rhythm, and we've also seen players step up. Cam Weston for Middle Tennessee doing a nice job taking over offensively, and then on the other end, seen a couple different players for Western Kentucky, including the freshman Julius Thedford having a great game with 10 points.
course, this is part of a men's and women's doubleheader. Western Kentucky women knocking off Middle Tennessee at home, 63-58 earlier today at EA Diddle Arena, and that snaps like a 31-game winning streak in conference play for Middle Tennessee women. So the men, thanks to Braxton Bayless, now have a 2-point lead, trying to make it a clean sweep today of Middle Tennessee. Tough shot from Cam Weston. No, Mustafa with the offensive rebound. Mustafa giving it up to Buford, flying through the lane, and can't get it to drop, but he's fouled. Ninth team foul against the Tops here in the first half, as Blaze Keita has his first foul, and Justin Buford hits the first free throw for Middle Tennessee. Buford, the senior from Selma, Alabama, way off on the second free throw. So 1-point advantage with 1 minute remaining here in the first half. Western Kentucky on top by 1. Edlin has just checked in for the first time tonight for Western, as McHenry trying to draw a foul. No. And Mustafa with another board. That's 6. Weston again. No. And Mustafa is going to be called for the clear out.
It's a tough call. Mustafa trying to be physical, getting that rebound. I don't hate the aggressiveness of that move, but he maybe even a little bit of a exaggeration on one end, but still important for both of these teams to stay physical down low.
Second against Esam, as there is a about 6.5 second shot clock, game clock differential. And Western for the first time tonight slowing it down a little bit. McHenry. And he's body checked by Cam Weston. Second on Cam. 5th against Middle.
One more chance for Western Kentucky with 11 seconds left. They want to run their best set piece here out of the inbounds, maybe get it to someone down low.
Bayless to trigger. Finds Colombe at half court now. It's Don McHenry to hold for the last shot. 8 to go. Checked by Trey Green, and Middle saying to foul. So 16 foul. Middle will foul likely one more time with 4.5 seconds to go in order to try to get the last shot of the half. Colombe, now Keita. McHenry gets a clean look at it, off the mark. And Middle lucky that Torrey Alston didn't get called for a last-second foul before the half. But either way, Western Kentucky will go to the break with a 1-point advantage as we await head coach Hank Plona, who's talking it over with the officiating crew before the break. So very low scoring first half between Western and Middle. Western Kentucky leads by 1, 28-27. Both teams shooting under 40%. Middle 36%. Western Kentucky 37%. We'll go to break. More from halftime coming up next here on the Glass House. Start of the second half here in Murfreesboro. Western Kentucky on top by 1. here in the 100 Miles of Hate rivalry, looking for victory number 101 in this series. They lead the series 100-47. And we are ready for action here at the Glass House with Jill Jelnick and Hallie Ledbetter. I'm Jake Rose. Thanks for spending your Saturday night with us here on ESPN. A great Conference USA showdown, as it is every year, twice a year. Counter bringing it up against Jalen Jackson. Porter probing, and he lost it. Turnover on the opening possession, just like the first half, Joe.
Turnovers are going to be key this second half. Whoever can force them and also keep them to a minimum will be able to hopefully get a lead, someone play on a run. We haven't seen very many runs, Jake, this game so far. Just Western Kentucky went on a 6-0 run in the first half.
Torrey Alston in the scorebook with his first shot tonight. He has 2. Yeah, to your point, the largest run of this game, 6-0, and it was 2 threes for Western Kentucky in the middle of that first half.
Again, the defenses have had a hard time, or have done a nice job limiting the offense, as Lander makes a nice, very nice 3. Lander, excuse me.
Christian Lander, his first long ball tonight. He has 9 in the starting lineup for the 8th time tonight for the Tops. Alston in trouble. Now finds Justin Buford, who will pull up with a mid-range. No. And here comes Don McHenry, scoreless in the first half. Going up through the contact. No. Batted away. Western Kentucky comes down with the board. And an open 3, but Mustafa clears for rebound number 8. Counter working it to Mustafa. And using the rim as his friend, Issa Mustafa.
Great move by Mustafa, staying with it down low. He was actually open earlier on the drive in the pick and roll, but Counter hesitated a slight bit, was able to get back to Mustafa. Like to see more of that game down low from the big man.
McHenry off the ball screen, creating the contact, went right into Justin Buford, and that's a heads-up play from the senior Don McHenry.
McHenry may not be scoring a lot tonight, still looking for that first basket, but he has created opportunities for his team, whether it's with assists, whether it's facilitating the ball, pushing it in transition, and now with a chance to get his first points of the night.
He's been struggling as of late. He did have 15 points in the win against Kennesaw State, but it came at a 3 of 11 clip from the floor. It's the 4th straight ball game that he has shot less than 30% from the floor.
Very surprising from that veteran.
Yeah, so the last 4 games he's shooting 24% in Conference USA play as he makes both free throws. So he is finally in the book. And he has given Western Kentucky a 2-point advantage. The largest lead from either team tonight is only 5 points, and that's Western Kentucky when they were up 9-4. Porter trying to create space against Christian Lander, goes baseline, and Lander cuts him off. Buford hard driving, can't get it to roll home, but he will go to the line for 2 free ones.
Love that drive by Justin Buford there, going up hard to the basket. Thought he was going to get that bounce in, but just missed. He's one of those guys, Jake. He's a glue guy for Middle Tennessee. Yep. He's not going to wow you with his points or jump out to you on the box score at the end of the night, but he's going to do the right things, do the little things, and do them consistently. I had a chance to talk to Buford's mom, Beverly Smith, last week during that home stretch, and not only is she a lovely woman, but you could see where Buford gets his passion from. She said he was so competitive at an early age, works very hard.
Middle now 6 of 10 from the stripe after Buford splits a pair. McHenry, quick trigger, got it.
McHenry's starting to heat up there. Finally, a big weight off his shoulders, getting those first points on the board. Now at Western Kentucky, getting a couple more guys involved when it comes to scoring.
Mustafa swiped on the way up by Jalen Jackson, and these teams are 5th and 6th in conference in terms of scoring, both at 78 points per game, but they do score in bunches, especially when it comes
to
three-point shooting. They come in waves.
And that's basketball for you, right? Streaks and heating up at the right time. Whoever can do that consistently, though, usually is the team with more points at the end.
Torrey Alston, a rare three-pointer. On the mark for Torrey Alston, just his second three-pointer this season. He's now 2 of 6 from distance. So not in the scouting report.
No, you cannot say that three-point shooting is his strength. He has a lot of other strengths, but he is a versatile athlete and been able to contribute in different ways. That's why he's found his way into the starting lineup.
Marshall's three, no good with the response. WKU still on top by 1. Porter, step back triple, no. And Christian Lander runs it down. Tops 3-on-1, Lander lost his edge and he traveled. Tops looking for a foul call, but I think he just got the chair pulled out from underneath him. As Cam Weston came sliding by, not sure if he made contact.
Middle might have caught a little bit of a break on that one.
Yeah.
And credit, let's take a look at that again.
Well, I don't know. I think he missed it.
Actually, it almost looks as if Lander's left foot kind of slid out from underneath him. I will say he hustled down court. I think he only took about 4 steps before he was at the basket. Good hustle, but Middle with a good break.
Weston cut off by Keita. Now Mustafa with a left hand.
Beautiful bucket by Mustafa. That's Middle Tennessee's game down low that they have been so sorely missing. Only had 2 points that first half. Getting Mustafa more involved this second half, as I'm sure was a talking point during the halftime, and they've done a little bit of a better job so far. 4 points tonight.
Lander another three, no. Mustafa back-to-back games with 22 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 offensive rebounds in the 2 wins last week against Jack State and Kennesaw State. And he has been the model of consistency for Middle Tennessee this year. 8 double-doubles, 14 times in double figures. Certainly working on a first-team all-conference selection this year, as Jackson is going to be run up for the foul as Jackson and Weston sharing words. And now we've got a little hubbub going on in front of the middle. Oh, they don't call it 100 miles of hate for no reason. Jalen Jackson, Cam Weston, Justin Buford, and Jalen Jackson taking on the whole Blue Raiders squad.
Yeah, that's a lot of blue over there.
5'11", not afraid of anything.
Definitely not.
And if you're 5'11" in the scorebook or in the press book, you're really 5'9", 5'10".
Yes. That's kind of a rule of thumb. You add a couple inches to your height.
I was 6 foot in mine in high school. I guarantee you I am not a 6-footer. They tried to go up top to Alston on the inbounds pass. Western was ready for it. Good defense by the Tops. Now Western going really quick. Corner three, Thetford, no. Nice offensive rebound taken away by Mustafa. He now has 10. Buford the other way, and the bucket.
Love that quick transition by Middle Tennessee. Buford was ready for it, well out in front. A nice pass ahead. Very good vision and all-around series by Middle Tennessee.
And now Middle has their largest lead of the game since very, very early. Oh, no. Oh, no. Julius Thetford in a lot of pain with that right knee. And the Western Kentucky training staff, and now Middle Tennessee's training staff over to check on him. And not a good scene for Julius Thetford. And we're going to step aside as Julius Thedford gets worked on here in the Murphy Center. Freshman standout Julius Thedford being helped back to the Western Kentucky locker room, and if you saw it, you know what it was, but that right knee was not in good shape for Julius Thedford. So wishing him a very, very speedy recovery as he's helped back to the locker room. So now Western Kentucky has got to find a way to respond without their leading scorer in this game, Julius Thedford, and Blaze Keita will be at the line shooting free throws in his stead after Justin Buford picks up his second foul.
Western Kentucky's Braxton Bayless also into the game as well. And like you said, Jake, Hilltoppers have to step up. They've also had a couple other injuries this season. Babacar Fee out with an injury, and that's the kind of adversity, unfortunately, teams face all throughout the season. You never want to face any sort of injury adversity, but that is the sport, and Hilltoppers now have to find a way to fight through with their bench.
Keita goes 1 of 2. And great work by both training staffs from Middle Tennessee and Western Kentucky to get to Thedford and set what they needed to set and get him taken care of. So hopefully it's one of those injuries where it looks a lot worse than what it is.
Yes.
5 to shoot for Middle. Buford's going to pull up with a mid-range. No, and Weston comes down with the offensive rebound. Nice. 6th offensive rebound tonight for Middle.
Very nice rebound by Weston. It felt like he came from all the way the other side of the court to get that one. Rebounding has been huge.
And Weston got popped in the mouth with a backhand from Marshall on the three-point attempt. Second foul against Marshall and the second against Western Kentucky here in the first half. Here's another look.
Ooh. Yeah, just that backhand on the finish there, trying to box out. Weston is 74% free throw shooter, one of the stronger free throw shooters for Middle Tennessee. Even though as a team, it's definitely been their Achilles heel so far this season. As that might have been my bad. I might have.
No. When you shoot 67% as a team, it's your bad. There's no such thing as the.
And you know what, Coach McDevitt would agree with us.
Yes,
he said that was a big emphasis going into this game, making sure they take care of business at the stripe.
Now Weston 0 for 2 as Middle really struggling as a unit. 6 of 12 from the stripe tonight, and Weston goes 1 of 3. 3-point lead for Middle. Western no field goals in the last 3 minutes, 15 seconds. Kalambe, quick trigger, no. Keita, offensive rebound. And Mustafa, the Pharaoh, sends it back. Now Mustafa going to work on the block, up and under, count it. The kid from Cairo with the quick feet on the up and under and the and one.
Mustafa getting it done on the defensive end with a huge block, and then on the offensive end with that nice reverse layup. Tough to do when you're up against Cato down low, and he makes the free throw. That's why he's been so valuable for MTSU as he motions to the crowd and get him hyped up. Even Coach McDevitt waving his arms now. You can feel the energy in the glass house.
Kalambe in trouble, gives it up to McHenry. McHenry taking it himself, hanging in the air, and quiets the crowd. And then a quick timeout taken by Hank Plona and the Tops. We're going to step aside. Middle on top by 5. Middle Tennessee on top by 4, 43-39. And if you want to help out our neighbors out in California due to the Los Angeles wildfires for the last couple of weeks, please help us donate via the Red Cross. Go to redcross.org/ESPN. That's redcross.org/ESPN, or get out your smartphone, scan that QR code, and let's help our neighbors out there in California, out there on the West Coast, recover and rebuild. 4-point lead for Middle Tennessee after the tough injury from Julius Thedford. He is back in the Western Kentucky locker room getting checked out with that right knee, but Mustafa has come alive for Middle Tennessee.
Great finish by Mustafa at the rim, and had a nice touch, and that's why he's one of the more agile big men you see. He is a little bit old school, Jake, in the way that he is a run back 5, but he also has great finesse, great touch. Coach says he has great hands as well.
9th double-double this season for Issam Mustafa. Nobody in Conference USA has more, as Marshall's 3 is no good. That ball shot up in the air. Porter comes down with a rebound. Middle's knocked down 4 of their last 5, as Mustafa has 9 here in the second half, and he has another offensive rebound. Porter, baseline drive, no. Mustafa with a tip, and the follow, no.
Almost got it to go on that second rebound. Altogether, MTSU doubling their field goal percentage from the first half. Originally shot 35% the first half. Now, Jake, 66%. The Blue Raiders with better shot selection, and that's what's helping them so far extend the lead in this game.
Porter with the hand check will take us to the under 12 media timeout. Middle Tennessee with their largest lead of 6. 6-point advantage for Middle Tennessee, and Western Kentucky has hit a dry spell here at the under 12 timeout. Just one of their last 8 as we take a trip around Conference USA. 3 games have gone final already. The only game going on right now, undefeated New Mexico State at 4-0, the last undefeated in the conference, down by 2 at Liberty. Always a tough place to play. Western just 1 for their last 8, trailing by 6. Their largest deficit tonight as Kalambe short on the floater. Issam Mustafa just picked up his 12th rebound, but he's got a couple of offensive rebounds tonight. He now has 400 offensive rebounds in his career, as Trey Green dialing up long distance.
Love that shot by Trey Green, getting him more involved. Just had a big night 2 games ago, finished with 9 points in 10 minutes. That's kind of the spark that Blue Raiders could use right now this second half to extend their lead.
Really tough bucket from Enoch Kalambe. It's been really kind of held in check tonight. Just 5 points, 2 of 7 from the floor. Mustafa gliding to the lane, caught it, but he was out of bounds. And it's a turnover. Good defense by the tops underneath. Seven-point lead for Middle here at home. Looking for their 8th home win. They've been so good here the last several years. 46 wins the last 3. And that's a wild shot cleared by Mustafa. 14 rebounds. Green one more time on the corner. Pop, pop, bang, Trey Green.
If he's hot, keep feeding him. Green, this time from the corner, nothing but net. A great spark for MTSU, and you can feel the crowd in the glass house feeding off of the energy, and that 3-pointer by Trey Green.
Middle starting to gap as the lead is 10, and Lander's 3 is no good. Cato with the offensive rebound, and then Mustafa thought he got a piece of the ball, but he's whistled for the 3rd time.
Taking a closer look at that one. It's on the second time that Cato tries to come up. Looks like Mustafa got him with his right arm. Didn't like the call. And this is a point in the game, Jake, where the battle at the stripe, the free throws, as the game starts to wind down, is going to be more and more imperative. MTSU with a 10-point lead at this point. They don't need to foul too much right now, right? They're in control. They have the lead. Make sure that they're taking care of the ball, not turning the ball over, and then also don't send the Hilltoppers to the line and give them a chance to get back in the game with quick free throws or twos.
And Keita shooting his first 2 free throws of the season.
Oh, wow.
Goes 1 for 2. And he has 4 points off the bench for the Tops as Western Kentucky will take a 30-second timeout. I believe that is their last 30-second timeout, so just 1 remaining for Western Kentucky. Middle has 3 of theirs left, but how about this Middle Tennessee offense coming out here in the second half and really getting things going, especially with Isam Mustafa.
Middle Tennessee looks like a night and day difference from that first half, right? They were only shooting 35% from the floor that first half, struggled from deep, but then Cam Weston provided that spark at first. And then how about Trey Green coming in with 2 back-to-back threes? And that's why this Middle Tennessee team has been so tough to beat this season. Not only do you have 4 players in double digits, but you have 6 players that have traded off being the leading scorer throughout the 18 games so far this season. So they like to spread the love. It's not always JP. It was the last 2 nights, but sometimes it's Mustafa, sometimes it's Cam Weston. And again, that's why the Blue Raiders have been so difficult to beat, especially down the stretch in games.
Showed the upcoming schedules for both of these teams. Mentioned at the top of the broadcast that Western Kentucky is on the front end of a 3-game road stretch, and the way Conference USA has played out and the way that the home teams have been so dominant so far, this is a very important stretch for Western Kentucky, although it's pretty early still in the conference slate.
Home teams not only went 7-2 that first weekend, but they continued that second weekend of conference play to get it done. It's just so hard to go on the road out of your environment into an opposing environment and their crowd and fans like here in the Glass House and beat good teams. Every team in this conference is very, very good. Both coaches attest to that. You have to bring your A game every night, because if you don't, the other team will take advantage.
Torrey Alston at the line shooting 2 free ones. He's been struggling from the stripe as of late, shooting just 52%. And Middle continues to struggle as a unit, just 8 of 15 from the line tonight. However, Torrey has been bringing great energy for this Middle Tennessee team since he's been in the starting lineup, filling in for the injured Kamari Lands. 24 rebounds the last 3 ball games.
Yeah, I think you could make the argument, Jake, that his last 2 3-game stretch has been the best this season. Yes, he was inserted into that starting lineup, making his 5th start tonight, but look at Kennesaw State, 7 points, 11 rebounds. Jack State, that was his 4th start, settled in nicely as well.
Loof with the rebound after getting put in the spin cycle from Kalambe. Loof against the much smaller Braxton Bayless. Gives it up for Counter. And now Counter looking to go one-on-one against Bayless. Spinning real quick.
Nice spin move by Jalen Counter. At first, he tried to get Loof the ball. Loof gave it right back to them. They didn't force anything. The shot selection by the Blue Raiders has been much better the second half.
Kalambe, tough shot, no. Marshall offensive rebound, sticking with it.
Marshall has been rather quiet tonight for the Hilltoppers. Just 1 for 7 from the, 2 for 8 from the floor. 5 points so far tonight. Very quiet compared to his team leading 20 points in their most recent win against Kennesaw State. Getting him more involved in these last 8 minutes is going to be a huge key for the Hilltoppers. Right now, someone needs to step up for Western Kentucky. Earlier, it was the freshman. It was the freshman Julius Thedford, and unfortunately is now out with that knee injury. So someone from Western Kentucky needs to be able to kind of put the weight on his shoulders. Go ahead and put the game on your shoulders. Try to maybe some more drives to the basket, create some opportunities.
18 on the shot clock for Middle, 8 minutes and change left in this ball game. Now 5 to shoot for Justin Porter. Buford from the wing, no. And Christian Lander with a rebound. Western down by 10. Really led for most of the first half. Had the 1-point lead at halftime as Marshall hit the hardwood. Porter putting Lander in the spin cycle and getting it to drop. Justin Porter smoother than a Sade slow song.
You can hear the crowd take a deep breath. They go, as that bucket fell through. Nice take by JP. As now all the momentum is with Middle Tennessee.
And Issa Mustafa thought he was going to get called for the 4th foul, but instead we're going the other way on the turnover. Middle Tennessee on top by a dozen. Gears going up, getting the runner to fall. He has 8 points here tonight as Middle Tennessee leads by 12 on their own home floor. And Jill, it's been all Middle here in the second half. They've outscored Western Kentucky 29-16 here in the second frame.
A tale of 2 halves for the Blue Raiders. Completely quiet, struggled to get into an offensive rhythm that first half, and no one really stepped up. The difference that second half really was Cam Weston providing them that quick spark, and then more Blue Raiders got involved. They got Mustafa the ball more down low, which I still want to continue to see him being worked down low there, kind of an inside-out 2-punch. Get him the ball, and if Western Kentucky doubles him, then kick it back out to your sharpshooters, such as Trey Green, who's back in the game, has provided a nice spark as well. 2 quick threes, and that really, Jake, has been why Middle has been able to go on this run, extend its lead.
Counter going the other way, coast to coast for Jalen Counter.
Blue Raiders playing with all the confidence right now. They don't need to push anything. They don't need a foul. Hold on to the ball and play with this lead. Also, maybe create a turnover or 2, just like they did there.
Middle shooting almost 60% from the floor here in the second half. Meanwhile, Western Kentucky shooting 23.5%. They are 5 of 21 as Counter off the glass, and Plona is going to have to burn his final timeout as Middle has taken full control of this ball game.
All the momentum with the Blue Raiders. You can feel it in this crowd, the glass house getting hyped up, and I love this take by Counter. Goes right to the basket, hard finish at the end. That's something that Coach McDevitt says is really in the forefront of their mind. Finishing strong, finishing at the basket. Coach McDevitt's telling us earlier this week it was something he noticed before even the season started. Back in summer, they had their close scrimmages. His players were driving to the bucket, but then they couldn't quite get the finish. That's something that's been a focus for them all season, and you've seen that come through, not just there, but earlier tonight as well. Big reason why they've been shooting nearly 60% from the floor the second half.
And Jill, this easily has been the best crowd that we have seen so far this season here at the Murphy Center to come out and support this Middle Tennessee squad. And they were cutting promos this week. They had Nick McDevitt out here cutting promos, trying to encourage the Blue Raider faithful to come out in full force tonight, and they have. This has been a great crowd tonight. And we've had a smattering of red here tonight as well, as, you know, easy trip straight down 65 to 24 to get here, 100 miles or so between Bowling Green and Murfreesboro. But here in the second half, it has been all blue as the lead has now ballooned to 16.
On the flip side, Jake, if you're Western Kentucky, you got to get back in this game, and you got to do it quick. Quickest way to do that, start to get hot. How about try to shoot some from the arc, make a couple threes, string some buckets together, and then also defensively, you got to slow down Middle Tennessee down low.
Jack Eaglin, who's been playing sparingly tonight, has an offensive foul going against Jalen Counter for the shove. His first, and the team's fifth. Yep, can't do that.
Yeah, and credit to Jalen Jackson, been playing tight defense all game long.
Yep.
He's been hustling back and forth down this court, playing with his heart and soul. Hasn't been doing it with a bucket, but he's been playing great defense.
McHenry had it poked out of bounds by Trey Green. Middle has done a great job shutting down Don McHenry. Just 2 of 10 from the floor tonight, make it 2 of 11 as Jalen Counter skies for rebound number 4. Dangerous pass, saved by Porter. Porter clearing out against Eaglin. Now he's on the drive, almost lost it, stays with it, and Eaglin with a foul on the baseline. First foul against Jack Eaglin, sophomore from Louisville. So Justin Porter, 8 points tonight, the reigning Conference USA Player of the Week, makes the first free throw. Middle on a little 7-0 run over the last minute 45 as Jalen Counter will take a seat in favor of Cam Weston, and Porter is in double figures yet again, 13th time this season that Middle Tennessee's leading scorer has reached double digits as Don McHenry blasting to the rim.
Great take by McHenry, and that's another way for the Hilltoppers to get back in this game is someone has to step up. It's got to be your star players. McHenry, one of their leading scorers, he's got to be able to shoot the ball more.
Justin Porter with a shrug after knocking down the 3, but then Odiahi with a jam on the other end. Middle didn't get back in transition, and the big fella from Tralee, Ireland. I'm probably not saying that right, so I'll just say Ireland.
I can't correct you.
But the transfer from Old Dominion getting up above the rim. 65-48, Middle on top. A little more than 5 minutes to go in this one. Middle trying to pick up their 8th win and their 48th win in this series. That dates back all the way to 1915. That's when they had the peach baskets and you had to get the ladder out to get the ball out of the bucket back in the day. As Buford got tied up. Bayless up ahead to McHenry, who lays it in with the left hand. And Don McHenry starting to find the groove, attacking the bucket.
Yeah, two quick buckets by McHenry. Now with 11 points on the night. Just one of 2 Hilltoppers in double figures, but he's trying to put this game and take it into his own hands.
And Nick McDevitt will take a timeout. His second timeout tonight to talk it over with 15 seconds on the shot clock. He'll actually use a full timeout. So we will step aside, I believe, for immediate timeout. Yep, we're going to pay some bills, and when we come back, Middle is on top by 15 here at home. Middle leads by 15 as we take a look at our Mid-South Ford Dealer Player of the Game. It's Issam Mustafa chalking up his 9th double-double this season. That is the most in Conference USA, 11 points, 16 rebounds for the kid from Cairo. He is our Mid-South Ford Player of the Game. Check Check out your Mid-South Ford dealer where you'll find the Ford F-150, the truck that powers great game days and work days across Tennessee. That's at your Mid-South Ford dealer today. Jill Jelnick, Jake Rose, Hallie Ledbetter. Middle on top by 15. Jalen Counter, quick trigger three, no. And Kalambe with the rebound. Counter got a clean look at it, but Middle just 6 of 18 tonight from behind the arc, but Western 5 of 24. Just nothing going right offensively for Western Kentucky in this game, shooting just 34% as Marshall threw it off the shoulder of Odiahi. Weston, one of 4 players in double figures for Middle Tennessee. And a knocked out of bounds with 11 to shoot on the shot clock.
Ever since Western Kentucky's freshman Julius Thedford left the game with that injury, you could feel the Hilltoppers just struggling to find any sort of momentum. It speaks to the freshman's glue, his all-around contribution offensively and defensively, almost as if the kind of the life went out of this team.
And Counter fouled on the way up. He will shoot a couple of free ones as Christian Lander racks up his 3rd foul. That's 17 fouls as Middle is now in the bonus with a 15-point advantage and less than 4 minutes to go. And what a response by Middle Tennessee after the half, outscoring Western by 16 so far. Counter missing the first free throw. He's been so good as of late distributing the ball, had 9 assists in the win against Jackson State on Saturday, and his assist to turnover ratio is over 2.5 times that. More assists than turnovers, and that's just been so great for Middle Tennessee, a team that's really struggled with turnovers a season ago, as Mustafa with a block.
As Counter brings the ball up, or I should say Weston, but circling back to Counter, Coach McDevitt telling us that he's so pleased with what he has brought to the team. And when he says, when you think about everything he brings, it's that assist to turnover ratio you mentioned, Jake. It's his 3-point shooting, it's his tough-nosed defense. It's all around leadership too. This is a bunch of leaders on this Blue Raiders team, and it's showed, especially in these tough stretches and tough games.
Yeah, he said instant impact. That was the first thing that came to mind when we asked him about Jalen Counter earlier this week. Foul is going against Jalen, his 2nd, and Middle 6th with 2:56 to go. And of course, Middle has really remade this roster this season. 6 transfers have come in, and really so many of them contribute.
Really kind of revamped the identity of this team, right? Because they get it done in so many ways. Well-rounded offensively, 3-point shooting, driving to the basket, also defensively too.
Buford pinning it against the glass and a big-time rejection. Middle still leads by 16. Counter going the long way around, didn't have the right angle shot. Now hustling back on defense. McHenry driving right side underneath the bucket, can't get it to go. And Middle with another rebound.
I like this move by Cam Weston, slowing things down. When you have a big lead like this, no reason to force anything or push the pace. You have a comfortable lead, take care of the ball, wait for the right shot.
And Middle has been great on the defensive boards so far tonight compared to Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky, the 2nd best defensive rebounding team in Conference USA. They are 9th in the country, and Middle is currently out rebounding them as Porter at the horn got it to drop. But Middle out rebounding Western Kentucky by 9. And then a whistle against Buford. His 4th, I believe. No, his 3rd. And the 7th team foul against Middle.
That shot by JP, that was something special. Right in the nick of time, the crowd loving every second of that. And that's what I'm talking about. You don't need to force anything right now. The clock is on your side for MTSU. Wait for that right shot. That might have been a little too late, but still, it was a nice shot by JP that counted.
So it's a 1-and-1 situation for Don McHenry, a 79% free throw shooter. Was scoreless in the first half. And he now has 12 as he's in double figures for the 13th time this season. But again, Middle really keeping him in check. All things considered, 4 of 15 from the floor. And we mentioned in the first half, his struggles as of late, shooting just 24% in conference play. Western has really got to find a way to get him going. But with the injuries piling up, he was already the top of every team's scouting report, but that's just even going to get more underscored and highlighted and put in bold as the season goes on.
And this league is so good, Jake. Everybody has a scouting report, right? And you're not going to sneak up on anyone, which is why even though teams may try to double team your best player, you got to have somebody else. You can't get it done with just one star.
And then Jalen Counter picking up the offensive foul. Swinging the elbows, trying to create some space, saying that Jackson was getting up underneath him. Take another look, or Evelyn, I should say.
Ooh.
We got him, yeah, that's a foul.
And it's just, that's no need for that right there. Obviously you want your players to be physical, aggressive, but that wasn't necessary, I should say. That was an unnecessary foul, especially again, there's a minute to go in this game. You have a comfortable lead. Hold on to it by taking care of the ball and not giving it back.
So the officials will go to the monitor for the review. Western Kentucky just 8 of 30 shooting the ball here in the second half. That is good enough or bad enough, really, for 26%. Meanwhile, Middle Tennessee shooting 58% from the floor here in the second half as Middle outscoring Western Kentucky 41-24 here in the second half as the officials have taken a look at the review, talking it over.
They might be looking at a possible flagrant foul. In my opinion, it was right in front of us. I didn't believe that was the case.
We're going to get an explanation here in just a second.
But we'll have to see what they say.
So just a common foul. They were looking for a flagrant. Appreciate the officiating crew clearing things up for us. So Middle's lead is 16, trailed by 1 at halftime, but they have just been explosive here in the second half as Enoch Kalambe has his 3rd field goal tonight. That's Western ball. We'll take a look at it.
Cam Weston can't believe it.
Yeah.
His reaction says it all.
Barry Mathis, veteran referee, with the call. Immediately pointed toward Western Kentucky's way. Well, we'll take another look at it. Tough telling from that angle if it hit off the front of the shorts of Cam Weston or if Jalen Jackson actually got a piece of it.
It still seems like the last to touch it was Jalen Jackson because of the way it reflected out of bounds, but he had the best angle. Less than a minute to go. If you're Western Kentucky, you got to find ways to score quick. You got to score in bunches. Knock down a couple threes. Get the ball to your best player. Don McHenry has been very hot, heating up. all his points coming in this half, all 13 of them. Hilltoppers need to capitalize on this inbounds play, score right away, then get a defensive stop on the other end, and then just start shooting. They got to get these shots to fall. I mean, it's going to be hard to do with 55 seconds and 14 points. But unfortunately, they've dug themselves into a hole this second half. Shooting, as you mentioned, Jake, 26, under 30% the second
like 26%,
half.
yeah. While we have a moment, big shout out to our media arts production crew tonight. Students from Middle Tennessee here, punching buttons, pulling levers, running the cameras. Producer Matthew Fleischman, director Ava Perdue, technical director Hayden Ruiz, and our production manager William Sprayberry. Doing a great job tonight, as usual. Excited the conference play is here. Get to work with them more. Get the replays going. Get all the graphics. We sound great.
At least we think so. I don't know. We'll have to ask our viewers, our listeners.
So officials have decided that it'll stay with Western. 20 seconds on the shot clock for the Tops. 55.5 to go as they're going up top for Marshall. I think Mustafa might have got a piece up.
I like the call, though. Nice set piece out of the inbounds play to Marshall. Just couldn't get that to drop. It's been the story tonight for the Hilltoppers.
So Middle happy to just run as much clock as possible. As Middle is going to win their second straight home game against Western Kentucky, as Cam Weston putting the Tops to bed. And one on the other end from Don McHenry, still playing hard as his explosive second half continues.
How about Cam Weston tonight? I know Esau Mustafa was our player of the game, and rightfully so, his 9th double-double, leading Conference USA, but Weston with 14 points. And I think going back to that initial spark he provided at the beginning of this half, that was instrumental in Middle Tennessee getting back into this game.
18 seconds left, shot clock is off, and Middle Tennessee just needs to get the ball across the timeline to close this one out and pick up their 13th win this season. And Hank Plona tells the Tops to get back as the Blue Raiders, the fans on their feet here at the Glass House. And round one of 100 miles of hate here in 2025 belongs to Big Blue.
A tale of two halves for Middle Tennessee, shooting 36%. The first half completely turned things around after the break. Finished this half shooting 59.3%. We might as well say 60% from the floor. And two reasons why. They got the ball down low to Mustafa. Instead of having 2 points the first half, Mustafa finishes with 11 points and 18 rebounds, his 9th double-double. And then the other reason why, it was a team effort for Middle Tennessee. Cam Weston, Trey Green, JP, all of those players heating up when Middle Tennessee needed them to. And unfortunately, Western Kentucky could never get going. Hopefully their fearless freshman, Julius Thedford, is okay. Went down with that tough knee injury, and that was something, Jake, they could just never recover from.
Yeah, sending all the positive vibes to Julius Thedford. This is definitely going to be a Western Kentucky team if and when they get healthy, hopefully expecting Babacar Fee back in the next couple of weeks or so, but they're going to be formidable as Haley Ledbetter is with Nick McDevitt.
Coach, you had a lot of versatility in scoring tonight. How important is it to have that versatility on offense?
Yeah, I think, when you're a one-man band, sometimes you can be easy to stop. So it's important that you've got multiple options, and we had different guys step up at different times. The biggest thing, though, was I thought we defended for 40 minutes.
You've been pretty successful so far this season in protecting home court with a now 8-1 record. What factors do you think play into that success?
Our guys love playing here. We're 14-1 in our last 15 games, to your point. It's a great crowd tonight. Got to keep holding serve at home because of how hard it is to win on the road in this league.
Thank you, Coach. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Back to you, Jake.
Thank you, Hallie, and congratulations to Coach Nick McDevitt. Win number 96 as the Blue Raiders head coach and 194 overall. As there's a look at our final stats. And Jill, final thoughts for tonight?
These are two tough teams. Unfortunately, the Hilltoppers just not 100% physically and not at their best tonight, and Middle Tennessee took advantage. This Conference USA, very, very difficult to win in. Blue Raiders come out on top tonight.
Middle Tennessee, very balanced scoring attack led by Justin Porter, and Mustafa with his 9th double-double, including a season-high, career-high 18 rebounds for Isam Mustafa. For Jill Jelnick and Hallie Ledbetter, I'm Jake Rose saying so long from the Murphy Center, where the final score tonight is Middle Tennessee 71, Western Kentucky 57. This has been a Media Arts student production from Middle Tennessee State University. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN from the Borough. So long, everybody.